Hey everybody, this is Willie Jello Johnson from the Titus Podcast. Hey, do us a favor, man. Make the ChristopherTitus.com page your homepage. And wherever you're going to buy something from Amazon, click through that little thing in the bottom, you know. Helps us out a little bit. Hell, we done, 4 years of this for free? You just click through the Amazon link, man. It doesn't cost you nothing else, man. And yeah, it gets us a little something, keep the doors open. And now, with the Armageddon update, it's the lovely, beautiful Bombshell Rae.
I'm Bombshell Rae, and this is the Armageddon Update. Well, of all the times we've thrown around the word Armageddon, we've misused it. I realize that because Armageddon has revealed itself in pure, undiluted, Xanax-popping, Ben & Jerry's binging, balcony-ledge tempting horror. And on January 30th of this year, my life and the lives of my family were forever changed. My mom, known to many of you as Bombshell, was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. You know stage 4 is bad because in the Cancer Handbook of Liveliness, there is no stage 5. No 4A, no 4 part 2. Oh, come on, subsection B, addendum to the bizzle. Nada. The Cancer Handbook's plot is gripping, but it really takes a bad turn after stage 4. See, stage 3, your liver tickles. Stage 4, your family measures your flat screen for their new villa they're planning to buy with your life insurance policy that they just took out right after they canceled your Jelly of the Month club they gave you last Christmas. And I do mean last Christmas. Cancer equals no more jelly. Not only that, but on the Cancer Richter scale, pancreatic is Kathmandu. I brace myself every time I tell someone because they instantly say, oh, no. And they start doing macabre math. February plus March minus Grandpa Melvin's pancreatic cancer, adding back his love of bacon plus Christmas because she's a Christian, and surely God will give her that, Satan forcing Eve to eat a stone fruit. Then the cock crows thrice, and they get the look of someone whose forehead is frozen by botulism and is sucking on a lemon. Go ahead, try it. You know you want to. See, 1 minute we were in Scotland celebrating New Year's. You know how everyone celebrates New Year's in Scotland by drinking an entire bottle of Macallan 21 before we even left to go out. The next minute we're checking into a North Carolina hotel telling the desk clerk that what brings us to Durham is a tumor. We laughed. She didn't. You see, we knew it was serious when Bombshell couldn't drink good champagne on New Year's Eve. Seriously, I've watched the woman slurp it off a dinner plate at my brother's graduation party because it spilled when she was cha-cha-chaing to church hymns in the kitchen. She was not Amazing Grace. So she went back to Kuwait and she had tests done. She figured it wasn't positive results when the doctor began trying on her jewelry, so she hot-footed it to the States where men, who explain all the big words and bring nice gifts, would be able to visit her in the hospital. And so it began. See, I elected to be Bombshell's full-time caregiver because I love my mom. And to prove I'm better than my sister. So worth it. The next 3 months were a whirlwind of hotels, blinding pain, uncontrollable vomiting, hospital stays, lonely fat girl moments crying into 4 desserts in hospital cafeterias, washing socks in the hotel dishwasher and blowing them dry, and doctor after doctor saying, she's going to die. Here's my bill. Payment terms are now because, you know. We were told this in North Carolina, and then at Cancer Treatment Centers of America, whose whole platform is hope. Hope? They're more like a death Costco. In the time my mom spent there, she vomited for so many days we found Jimmy Hoffa. She nearly died, and 2 separate doctors told her the most she had was 4 months. 4 months? Great, so you die right when your Botox and your IUD wears off. The doctor told her she was going to die, and she boldly said, I'm going to fight this, and I'm going to win. I am not going to die. Then he told her she would start chemo and her hair would fall out, and she said, oh my God, I'm going to die. I immediately got on my phone and I looked for a pancreatic specialist because going to CTCA for any non-glamour cancer, namely anything in your gut, is like going to a dentist for a facelift, which is what I suspect Bruce Jenner did. I found a specialist here in LA, and I immediately transferred her because I figured we could have our hope crushed locally. Honestly, I would donate my pancreas if I didn't have to get on another Southwest flight to Phoenix. This guy's extremely eccentric, but he started introducing us to pancreatic cancer survivors. 12 years, 10, 7, 6 years, inoperable, incurable, now cured. He did this by flipping through pictures for some of them, and yes, he did flip some of the pictures to the back of the desk, but you gotta break a few eggs! So Mom started chemo. People do chemo because they don't want to die. After starting chemo, she thought maybe she'd chosen poorly. See, chemo makes your hair fall out, so Mom was walking around the house with tiny puffs of hair just popping off of her head. At this point, she was a human dandelion. My brother, who you all know is not the sensitive type, said, why don't we just put her in the front seat of the Corvette and roll the windows down? Let me put your mind at ease. Bombshell is currently engaged in the battle of her life, and she is winning that battle. It is not easy, and we are met with new challenges every day. But I realized I was waking up every morning thinking, I can't believe this has happened. I can't believe she has a Chernobyl of cancer. I can't believe. And I realized she's not dead. She's downstairs. Huh. I can't believe she's downstairs. I should go hang out with her. I should hug her. I should tell her she loved me first when I was unlovable and took care of me for all of my life. I should tell her, I love you, Mom.
Rachel, I love you too.
This is Bombshell Rae, and this is the Armageddon Update.
Hey everybody, Christopher Titus Podcast, and I have to say that was one of the most amazing, I think probably the best Armageddon updates that has ever been done on this show. Thank you very much. Really funny. So I want to point out that Bombshell Rae dove into cancer and was hilarious. It's ridiculous to me. With us on the podcast to my right, as always, the beautiful Bombshell Rae.
What's up, people?
And to the left, because Willie can't make it today, is Bombshell.
Great to be here.
Yay, it is great to be here.
It is great to be
She
here.
really means that. That's not some crap she just spewed out. That she actually means, it's great to be here. I want to point out to everybody, CTCA, Rachel was very funny about talking about the nightmare that CTCA was. All I was getting was blow-by-blows here in L.A. while they were there. I got to tell you, it has seemed like one of the most outrageous, crazy, like it was almost like you went into a hell hospital. Because the second she was fine, she had cancer, we're going to get it fixed, and then within a week, she's vomiting, they've got machines hooked up to her, they're trying to insert things into her they can't find.
It was so surreal when you considered the fact that I just kept saying it was only 2 weeks ago we were in Scotland celebrating and laughing, and now she almost died in that hospital.
Yeah.
She wants me to be very clear in saying that this is our personal experience, that they have had success with other people there. It is my opinion that any cancers that are not, like I said, glamour cancers, breast cancer, things like that get a lot of money thrown at them.
Right.
Things in your gut, go to a specialist because they have no idea and they treat it the exact same way they would treat all other cancers, and it's just not effective that way.
Yeah, they basically just it's like a cancer antibiotic they try to give everybody, kind of. It's the same one for everybody. I mean, you don't even remember. It was so bad. Like, you don't remember part of it.
No, I don't remember a whole lot
So
of it.
we went to so let me explain to you something about how. Here's my experience with this. Now, my father had a bunch of heart problems and everything, and I had bitched and moaned to Kaiser to get him on the heart list. And I had threatened people and everything. And I got him on the heart list. They said, okay, we'll put him on the heart list if he stops smoking. And I went to my dad. Dad, you can have a new heart. Get on the list, get a new heart if you stop smoking. Wouldn't stop smoking. So I know how bureaucratic and stupid hospitals are. Now, my dad, though, stupider because he could have had a new heart. So what happened was we got a call that you were coming back from Kuwait, where you were the head of a department at a school
University.
at University, American University of Kuwait. Coming back, so we start tracking down. The whole family springs into action. You have to admit, everybody sprung into action. We all started calling. We all started doing stuff, right? Everybody, Josh, everybody started just going crazy. She comes in. We send her to, you go to North Carolina, see Grandma. You go to that hospital. They basically flat out say, you're dying. You're done.
Yes.
And so, like, by the way, by their calendar, you should be dead now.
Yes, I should already be dead.
Yeah,
Well, so I actually ended up relocating for about 3 months period of
You
time.
left. That's right. You were gone.
I was gone, and
I forgot that, man. I remember that. That was
you
traumatic.
also have the PTSD from that. Who's gonna wash my socks? So
He's gonna snuggle me. I was unsnuggled.
he's only saying that because I took both Yorkies too.
Yes, you did.
They went on the road, but a couple times I would leave and go to work. I would fly from North Carolina or from Phoenix to a gig and then fly back. And I got snuggled 2 hours from showtime in Austin. And my brother was there, Agent Pink Squashy was there, and the doctor, Mom called me, she said, it's bad news, but you need to talk to the doctor because she didn't understand all of it. The doctor, I get on the phone with him, and he said, at this point, we just need to make her as comfortable as possible.
Now, this is early January.
January
correct?
30th.
As I continue to say, she's never done that.
Oh,
No.
yeah, right. Well, I
January-
would say since this she has.
That was January 30th.
So here, let me give you the true, the blow by the horror of it. I walk into we're on a gig. We're at a gig. It's like 4:00 in the afternoon. We're getting ready to do the show that night. I walk into the hotel room. Bombshell's curled up in a fetal position and not in an attractive way, sobbing. And I said, what'd they say? Quote, she's going to die. She's going to die. She's going to die. What? They give her 4 months. I go, wait, this is one of the best places in the country. We've been told this is a top-notch place, a UNC. And she goes, that's what he said. So I said, okay, that's not, no, And I get my computer. I'll take the blame for it. I'm the one who went to CTCA. CTCA has a higher rate of cancer cures for pancreatic than most. That's what they said. They have a survivor wall. It's
Not for pancreatic, for cancer in general.
No, they have a survivor wall pancreatic patients.
They
signed
do.
on the
They
wall.
have 10 people, yes, but their percentages are as it pertains to cancer.
They said specific. The website says specific pancreatic. So I called them. They said blah blah blah. We talked to a really nice oncologist. They did. I have to be honest. They did give us some hope on
She
that
was
phone
great,
call.
yeah.
They were phenomenal.
Which oncologist?
Lily, she's
Lily.
She wasn't an oncologist.
she's an oncology specialist, is
That's
what she
right.
does. Yeah,
Which is weird. It means she's not an oncologist, but she what?
She was
can
great.
recognize one in a crowd.
was
What
really
does that
great.
mean? Yeah, she was. She was very helpful.
They were
The-
the first to give us any hope.
They were the
Yeah.
first to actually give us
And
get
then
us
take it away. It was shocking.
Yeah, which is almost worse. Let me give you all the hope, and then we tell that story too. So people, you need to know that, and I've been saying this since this happened. Every doctor you go to, a lot of them think they run everything, and in my opinion, every doctor could be a doctor by getting a C-. You do know that. Every doctor that you're seeing to that's cocky in your face, telling you how you're supposed to live and what you're supposed to do with your cure, could have just got a C-. You know, I would ask him, what was your GPA when you graduated med school? That'd be good to know, right? So we go to, by the way, jump in anytime, guys, when I'm missing stuff. So we go to, we get to go to CTCA. We're closer to us, which is great. Obviously, we've made a decision. Mom's staying with us because Phoenix is right there. Boom.
I flew back to North Carolina
Right.
to get her. At this point, we had been driving 3 hours back and forth each way to UNC Medical Center to have tests done, different procedures done, the nerve block, everything. So we're thick in it. Lots of stuff has happened. And now we have to get her from North Carolina to Phoenix, which with the amount of pain and eating problems and everything she was suddenly having was really quite a daunting task. Just
At
to
this point,
get
her digestive system due to her pancreas is just wrecked. It's wrecked because the pancreas is sick. Everything's sick. You were sick. You know, it's. How did you feel during that time? Like, what was that like?
Honestly, I don't remember so much of that. It all went so fast, and it was so up and down all the time. We had a woman oncologist in North Carolina who I was going to start treatment with, who basically told me that I would do the chemo and live until I couldn't tolerate the chemo anymore, and then I'd die. And
Those are-
usually that's before a year is out. So she...
Here's what I love about this. By the way, we're going to give you chemo, which is the most horrible.
Horrifying.
You're going to feel like you're dying all the time. And when you decide you don't want to feel like you're dying anymore, you're gonna die.
You just quit.
Yeah. So you can live. You can live on the
Wishing
edge.
you were
yeah,
dead.
You can live wishing you were dead, or you can die. Here, what do you flip the coin? So by the way, and this is the same treatment they've done since the '60s. Here's where we suck as a country and medically. We're not trying anything. Now there's some trials going on, but due to our system, it's really hard to get new stuff through. Really, really hard.
It is.
Our
And-
new doctor that we'll get to in a little bit, but he did just say that because he's trying to fund a cure, and he just said that our percentages for this disease are exactly the same as they were 50 years ago.
That's crazy.
It's crazy.
That is crazy. But my phone, I can talk to a satellite. I can call anybody in the world in a second and a half, and it costs nothing. Cancer? We'll get to it.
I had breast cancer about 15 years ago, and back then I said that in 10 years...
rematch.
Yes, they're redo. And I said then that the treatment is really horrifying, and that I was sure in a decade that people would be looking back and laughing at this.
Like leeches. They'd be
Yeah,
going like
yeah,
bloodletting,
really.
and the guy's head hurts, hit him in the head with a board. That's what they used to do.
Because the concept is you kill all the cells to the point to kill the cancer cells, hoping that your red blood cells will crank back up afterwards. You know, you really do kill off all your good stuff.
So what they're doing is basically, all right, guys, here's the battle. We're going to send everybody in. It's a suicide mission. We're all going in. 3 of you got to survive to make new red blood cells. It's horrible. It's the stupidest when you think
but
about it.
But it does work for people, which is interesting.
Yeah. Well, so this doctor, so just so you guys know, people, we are now at the level where at best you would be emaciated. You would be weigh about 45 pounds and be on your deathbed right now. Due to what these doctors told us, you should be on your deathbed right now. That being said, we just tested her last week. Guess what? She's gaining weight. And pancreatic patients don't gain weight. She gained a couple of pounds. Her blood work is great. Your cancer number went from a 148 to a 41. So we are at a different place right now. And we found this amazing doctor at UCLA. So if anybody has anybody in their family with pancreatic issues, pancreatic cancer, Dr. Isakoff, don't ask Mom his name. You'll never get the name right. My God.
It was Rubystein last week. Ippenflopper, Flickenbooger.
I don't...
Passamaquoddy.
Flickenbooger was the worst. Like, you know, you just said Flickenbooger, right? She comes in and she goes, Dr. Ickenflower.
Ickenbooger.
What? No, the guy's saving your life and she can't get his name right. So Dr.
I'm crazy
Isakoff.
about him. Yes.
Yeah, he's great.
I'm crazy about him. Yeah, he's an amazing person. He's very eccentric.
Isakoff. Not for you, although in your
Isakoff.
phone it says Ipikoff.
Yes, it's Ipakoff.
She put it in her
It's
phone.
wrong.
But for anyone listening that knows anyone with pancreatic cancer, stage 4, metastasized anywhere, Dr. Isakoff, he's affiliated with UCLA in Los Angeles.
Yep.
Yeah, he's really amazing.
But we were in Phoenix, and everything instantly went downhill.
Now, this is what I don't understand. You guys got to Phoenix. Mom was still operating. She was in pain, this and that. She's in a hospital. Now, I'm here in L.A. going, okay, good. I was like, literally in 2 days, it is like, Mom's not, she's crying on the phone.
She started throwing up.
Instantly.
And then it wouldn't stop. And it became the night when we were finally left all alone. Everyone had gone, and that's how it stayed from then on. We were up all night with her vomiting all night. She just first she came in my room at about midnight. I had gotten her to sleep, and she had kept some food down, and I thought it was getting better. And then for the next 7 hours until we could get a hold of someone at CTCA, she vomited nonstop every 40 minutes at least for the next 7 days.
And couldn't eat anything. You guys, I remember talking to Ray, and I was on the phone going, well, try this. We'll try a banana. Try this, try this. There is nothing that you could eat that you could keep down, which is weird because, so then they give her antibiotics because they think she has, right? Wasn't this?
Anti-nausea medicine.
Wasn't there something they gave her that made it, that helped the ulcers? Like she had, they knew she had ulcers?
They did not know what the problem was yet. And so they were pumping her full of IV anti-nausea and anti-anxiety and anti-everything medication, which she ultimately had a reaction to. And on that Wednesday night, I sat with her from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. for the second most horrible night of my life. The most horrible was Thursday, where she had something called Tarkiv dyskinesia, right, where it causes you feel like you're climbing the walls. And so she's already miserable, already in pain, already vomiting. And now she is on the bed, spine flexing like something in The Exorcist and crying out to God, to me, everything for 5 hours that lasted.
Do you remember this at all?
No, just vaguely, maybe. When Rachel's described a lot of things to me, I'm not sure now what my memories are and what she's told me. Wow.
That's crazy. I have to say this. I was trying to hold the fort down here in L.A., but man, I'm honestly glad I wasn't there. I have to be honest.
Well, you did get on the phone.
I was on the phone a lot.
Oh I could always tell when you had called again because a bunch of really sad-looking people in suits would walk in with their heads bowed.
Well, that's the thing is, listen, we all have this thing about lawyers have the same thing. The thing about doctors, and we've had too much experience with those too lately. Lawyers and doctors have this messianic complex. I'm in charge of it. I have the rules. I know how it's going to work. And they come and they treat you like they're above you. They treat you like they run things. You know, it's very rare you find a doctor that's like, "What's going on? What are we doing? Okay, let me see. What do you think we should do? Here's a couple options we could do. What do you think?" I don't rarely meet a doctor like that. And these guys come in and they're telling you, here's how it's going to go. This is how it's going to go. And when I heard that, I'm not an idiot, and I would get on the phone, and I started calling. I called CTCA because there's 4 or 5 hospitals. I started calling. I go, "Where's your main branch with the CEO?" who's the CEO? And they're like, well, you can't talk to the CEO. I go, oh, I said, I'll get to the CEO. And I start calling people, and I got to like the third or fourth
You
guy,
got vice
secretary.
president of oncology.
That's right. I got VP of oncology, told him what was going on, and all of a sudden all hell broke loose at the hospital. Which was okay. They were probably glad you guys moved to UCLA. They were probably like, oh, God, if we don't have to speak to that asshole anymore.
I told Mom, actually, when she did finally start to get a little bit better and come out of that thing that we were in, I put Neverlution on the hospital TV in her room, and I told her that probably as soon as your voice came out of those speakers, a bunch of people ran. Oh God, he's here.
Well, here's the worst thing. So the entire hospital, and this is my opinion, the entire hospital's thing is, and that commercial with Peggy, we all know Peggy. I asked him on the phone, I go, is Peggy a lie? Is that an actress? Or did she really have pancreatic cancer? Because commercial plays 24/7. Is that real? You guys have a cancer wall. So we had a moment today where Bombshell's husband is a very, very, very good man, integrity, badass. He's a badass. What he does, and he's been a soldier for a long time, was a colonel, badass. Guy can handle business. We're sitting in the room, and we get this the new guy, and I'm expecting hope. This is when I was there. I'm expecting hope. I'm at the Cancer Treatment Centers of America for hope.
Yeah.
And we're sitting in the room, and we're listening to the doctor, and we're going to give us hope. We're all sitting around, and the hope is ready. I'm Cosby. And we're waiting for the hope to come out of this man. Hope, because cancer is going to go bye-bye. We're going to hope. And the guy goes, well, the best you can do is keep her comfortable. And, 5 months, we'll do the best we can. And I see Bombshell's husband just go blank. And this is the guy who deals with battles. This is the guy who's dealt with troops. This guy can handle anything. And he just goes blank. Like, I saw this guy switch off. And I've never seen it. And by the way, the scariest thing I've ever seen in the man, because I know who the guy is. And he just clicks off. And they go, and the guy goes, do you have any more questions? And I'm active because because on stage I no, you're done. Thank you. You can leave now.
He did.
And the guy
You dismissed him.
you can go.
He was the head guy too.
He goes, well, if there's any, I don't want to hear it. We're good. Thanks. Leave.
Yeah,
Bye.
the first oncologist told her, I don't know about those people on the website or the wall.
Right.
So then we demanded it, or you got on the phone. We got a new team, and that's when everything really, got worse. And finally, our last day there, that Thursday night in the hospital, they did try to catheterize her twice for an it was an accidente. Turns out she didn't need it, like I was telling them that she didn't. And that was when she, in this fog that she couldn't communicate at this point. It was so bad. She couldn't
She's
speak.
vomiting constantly. She's got stomach ulcers.
No, she couldn't think or get words to connect to her brain. And they would come in and ask her questions because they want to talk, to the patient. And she would move her mouth. Nothing would come out. And she would just turn and look at me and kind of nod, like, because she knew I would know what she was trying to say. I would speak for her. And so they did this to her, this horrible catheter thing that they did,
The
catheter episode. So what happened? So she was having problems.
I have my face kind of buried in her neck, and I'm talking to her. I'm talking about the beach and things like that.
Though?
It's a long story. It's a long, boring medical thing that we're not going to talk about. But we did know that it was unnecessary, and we tried to tell them and ask them to retest, and they said, no, absolutely, this has to be done right now or else she could die. They always try and scare you.
To sum it up, it's because I started peeing totally red blood.
I remember this. In fact, let me tell you one of the grossest moments of my day that day. So and at one point, Bombshell's talking to me so much, and it's all bad. This is when everything spun out of control. This was literally a downward spiral. You were arguing, Mom. You were arguing in. You were going in. It was bad. So instead of sending me what had happened, I opened my phone, and there's a picture of a perfectly clean white toilet with literally like 4 cups of blood in it, and she goes, it just says Mom's pee, and I'm like, no.
I needed for people to. You're my pit bull. I needed for you to understand, because it was one thing after the other. And in fact, I ended up getting on the hospital the morning after the catheter rodeo with that VP of oncology who was coming by to make sure everything was okay. And he goes, hey, how was her night last night? A little better? And I said, let me tell you how it was. First of all, your people tried to catheterize her twice while she screamed so loud that the windows vibrated. And I said, do you ever watch House? And he said, yeah. And I said, I feel like I'm in the middle of an episode of House. I said, that minute 38 when you're watching the show and that patient is vomiting blood out of his eyeballs, and you can't help but think, why would anyone go to that hospital? Because every week on Monday at 8 p.m. at 30 minutes in, this starts.
Yeah, they fix it
and
eventually.
he just looks at me and he goes, I'll walk you to her room. I mean, I hadn't had any sleep. I was spinning. I mean, it was all day, every day, nonstop, no sleep. And at the same time, one of the Yorkies has started vomiting and pooping blood in the hotel room. So I am shuttling back and forth, hotel, hospital, cleaning up her poop and pee blood, then going and dealing with the dog. And then I was ragged, and I just lost it on this guy. But, I will say that during the catheter rodeo, Mom, out of not being able to speak hardly at all, started doing
the 23rd Psalm.
That includes...
And the part where he gets to, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. Rachel told me I went through it one time quietly, and then she told me to talk louder because they were continuing to
No,
work
I asked
on me.
you to repeat a part for me, and you started from the top.
One more time.
A one, a two.
And when I got to the part where I was literally yelling, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. She said they stopped and turned and looked at me and looked shaky.
Because her eyes were covered. I had her eyes covered so she couldn't see what they were doing.
I have to say that I can't imagine a scarier moment for a healthcare professional when they're trying to do something and the patient is loudly saying,
told her,
yea, though I
said-
walk through the valley of the shadow.
I told her, I said, you have seen Pulp Fiction, right? And she said, no, why? And I said, because Samuel Jackson always blew the guy's head off after he said
exactly.
that.
The gun came out and he got a bullet in his skull. That's usually what usually happened. So you get through that, and then at this point, I'm on the phone. Just so you guys know, you guys are dealing with the worst nightmare you've ever. I'm on the phone, and I am just due to hecklers. I figured out why I'm good at this. Due to the years of being heckled by audience members and sometimes having to deal with them, I am really good at slamming people. So what happened is these guys are like, well, you don't understand. I go, oh, no, I understand. I totally understand. She's in a hospital, and she's sicker than she ever was, and I would just rip on this guy. And that doctor, after the doctor left that one time and took all our hope away, because we'd actually got you fired up. We were in
was the
CTC.
first guy,
she was stoked, and she was like, and that guy came in and did that, and your husband just kind of lost it. And I got out of there.
Tell this, Chris. His first wife passed away.
Yeah. No,
From colon cancer only about 10 years ago. So
Right.
he's in round 2 now.
right. So and Cancer Part 2, the rematch.
Yes.
He's in the rematch also. So we have a special. When you go to CTCA, by the way, they have a great cafeteria, and the facilities.
The desserts, like I said.
Yeah, desserts are monstrous.
4 at a
Are
time.
beautiful. But at the end of the day, it's like Starbucks just serves coffee. We go there because Starbucks is so well designed. Starbucks serves coffee. Donut shops serve coffee. There's a lot of hospitals that you go in and they're just windowless, soulless. This is not soulless. They're actually on you. They're nice. They're still, at the end of the day, they don't have some answer. They don't have some medical technology that blows everybody away. They're just nicer about it. Let's just be honest. So it's the truth. So I call our person that was helping us, and I said, I need to speak to that doctor right now. And I was in that mode. This guy calls me back, sir, do you have a problem with it? Do you have a problem with it? What is your problem? And I just said to him, I said, you know what? I said the entire reason we're here is because hope. She was told she was going to die. You guys didn't give her hope. I said, tell me that. So those names on that wall, those cancer survivors, those pancreatic cancer, that's a lie. It's a lie, right? You just put them up there, or are there people that's connected? Because by the way, if those names are real, then what you told us is wrong. I go, we knew Rockneed her for 2 weeks to get her to think she could beat this, and you sucked it out in 30 seconds. I said, do you even know? Do you know what the Hippocratic Oath is? Do no harm. Well, let me tell you, pal. You walked in that room and you destroyed her. You did harm from the first sentence to the last. And this guy, to this man's credit, I was waiting for a doctor to get arrogant, and he went long pause, and then he just goes, I understand. And the next day, tell him what happened the next day. The next day, I am like, so either you get us someone that's going to help her, or you go in and you go help her.
That wasn't the oncologist, but
that was the GI guy.
That was the gastroenterologist, and he came in the next day and requested that I allow him to help me. And
He requested permission to enter
permission
the room.
to enter the room. He's really a lovely man.
He
Really
said,
a
I think I
lovely
can
man.
help her, and I would like your permission to come into the room and
he also got very serious about his job. That's when we found out about the ulcers and everything.
Well, I think what happened at CT at the Phoenix branch is that they have someone established who is pancreatic oncology, but his story is you have a few months to a year, and that's his story. And he's not experienced anything else. And the gastroenterologist, who was fairly new there, was just going along the same story without thinking this is a person in front of me.
Right.
And but he came in, and that's when we found out I had all kinds of ulcers, and I had what was that?
Esophagitis.
And everything they were giving you was
what was
hurting
causing her to throw up was that it had progressed, and why it rapidly built on itself was because she had esophagitis, and eventually her bottom of her esophagus, the doctor there, the GI doctor, who we think is excellent. Actually found it and showed me photographs of it. They did an endoscopic procedure, and her esophagus at the bottom was so swollen and torn and ulcerated that it had swollen shut. And not only that, if anything did get into her stomach, she had like 8 big ulcers in her stomach. So we don't know, but so everything they were pumping into her was nothing could go down,
making it worse.
Yeah,
everything in front of her was making it worse. So they finally found that, and again, that's the house moment where you're like, wow. So you guys have been giving her stuff that kid's making what she already has way worse, which is making her sicker, which is going to kill her. So 4 months was you guys were like just being optimistic at 4 months, because if we put her here, she's going to be dead in 2. So what happened was we. Here's an amazing thing, people, and I'm going to tell you: do not. There's that old phrase: get a second opinion, get a fourth opinion, because right now there's so many people doing so many different things. They're throwing right now the HIV virus at cancer. There was a great thing on the show called Vice, called Killing Cancer. They're throwing different viruses at it. They're trying different types of chemo. There's a lot of stuff that is making a difference depending on how you do it. So don't just accept the death sentence that they're going to give you, because by the way, they're going to give it to you. That's what I found out. They just go, well, this is how it works. Thank you. It's like buying a car. Yeah, we're undercoating. Got to pay for undercoating. Well, I don't want undercoating. Take it off the car. Well, no, yeah, it's already there. They just assume that you're going to die.
And I don't think that they know better.
They weren't trying to be horrible.
Right.
I think they just didn't know.
So we got assigned a new team. She started coming out of this because of this GI doctor.
Who I'd screamed at and basically told him.
It started healing the ulcers. She was able to put food in and keep it down for the first time, and so she started getting strength. They assigned us a new team. She and I went home to my home, the hotel, the place of the laundromat where parties happened every night.
Yeah.
Bring your malt liquor.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. So we went back to the hotel, and the next day we came and we met with the new team. And she started chemo. She did chemo, and we drove home. And it was like this triumphant moment. I drove all the way back to L.A. with her in the car. She's very shaky. It was very scary. Like, you just didn't want to break her after all this stuff that had happened. And our plan was to start flying back and forth for chemo every Tuesday. And we did that twice.
Because it's only an hour.
It was the second time that we went back that the new oncologist got us alone and told us that in good conscience he had to tell us that the best he could do for me was a few months to a year. And Rachel looked at him and said, well, then why do people go through all of this if there's no hope? And he said, well, many don't.
Mm-hmm.
So,
a friend of mine who's a doctor, my buddy Marshall, when I told him what was going on with you, the first thing he said was, and he just knows what this goes. He said to me, he goes, well, you better see if she wants to do the chemo and have a quality, or not do the chemo, and while she's here, have a quality of life. And I'm like, and this is one of my good friends. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, because that's the standard word. But it's like when my son had heart surgery when he was little, the doctor who had been treating him and sent us to Duke Medical Center said that to be prepared, took me aside and said, be prepared for him to die. And so I was all upset. So we get up to Duke.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Hey.
We get up to Duke, and the guy who wrote the textbook on how to do this heart surgery is the guy who's doing his surgery. And he said, what? He said, we do this every day. It's like a tonsillectomy to us.
Wow.
So, but he's a specialist. And
he also doesn't agree with. Here's the thing. I mean, status quo. It's so easy to get on the train of status quo. If I had done that any time in my life, there's no way I would have done stand-up comedy. I'd be a roofer addicted to meth right now, making a little side money working on cars. That's
you'd
what I'd
be
be
dead
doing.
if that's what you were.
Yeah, I'd be dead.
Because somebody would have punched you because you're not always the nicest guy. And if you were on
Thank
meth
you.
and on a roof, I can't
By the way,
even begin.
you're welcome. By the way.
Yeah, you handling your own customer
Yes.
service.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Listen, the worst thing that's been said to me recently is I told you, my agent said to me one day, he said, your problem is that you hold people accountable for what they say they're going to do. He said, that's your problem. And in Hollywood, that's my problem. I said, what? And he goes, yeah, people say they're going to do something. If they don't do it, you call them on it. And people it's just much easier to deal with people that won't say anything. Everyone else is afraid to talk to them. You're not. I don't understand that's a problem. That doesn't seem to be a problem to me, but okay.
We love you.
Thank you.
This guy was talking, and Mom said that I just quit talking. We had gone there encouraged because we had weaned her ourselves off of the pain medication.
Yeah,
they had
wow.
put her on Oxycontin. And she said she felt like she was talking and her lips were over there. I videoed that day. I have a lot of videos from all of this.
I love that when someone's in horrible dire straits, you're like, I feel like my lips are not connected.
Yeah,
Let me
I
get the
hate
camera.
I did. Also, I have pictures, which she probably will not let me show. When the first day she ate, when she started to feel a little bit better, and I gave her a shower, and so she was clean and her hair was wet, and I was trying to cover her hair because she's so cold. I was trying to cover her hair in the hospital bed with like a napkin from the tray, and I started doing like paper mache, so I did the flying nun, and she's like half asleep, and I've got the flying nun, I did the Pope, and I did a chef, I did all these different hats on her and took pictures of them. It was awesome.
That's great.
But anyway, so I was sitting there.
Memories.
I was sitting there and I just pulled out my phone, and I think she thought I was texting or something. And the thought occurred to me that this guy just said never. I asked him a question about cure.
This was a bad day for me when I heard
surgery, and then because the only way cancer's curable is if you have surgery to remove the tumor, and he said not possible with this disease, not possible after it metastasizes, not possible, never in all my years, ever, not one time ever, was how he put it.
Thanks for the hope.
And
Appreciate it. Thanks for the hope.
Right.
Could I have my receipt? Can I get some of my money back? Because the hope didn't show up.
So I sat there and I thought, oh my gosh, my first thought was he's an oncologist, and so if never, and then I thought, wait a minute, there's like how many hundreds of cancers? So we're looking at the odds of how many of those cancer patients of his were pancreatic, because pancreatic is pretty rare, pretty deadly, but pretty rare.
Top 4 cancer.
So out of all of
High
his
five,
cancer patients, what are the odds? What are the odds that he had a bunch of pancreatic that he's giving me odds from? So I thought, all of a sudden it clicked. I need someone to give me odds that has only ever dealt with pancreatic. I need someone who's a specialist.
Right, who basically their house is in the shape of a pancreas.
Yes.
You need someone who knows it so well.
Yes.
They've
None of us even knew where it was.
They
when
wear
all of this
shirts that
began.
say, how's your pancreas? We need someone who is a pancreatic specialist doctor. So the cool
Yeah, actually, when they said pancreatic, we all went, huh?
Yeah. What?
What?
So basically, Mom's brother in New York, who's kind of a big shot over there in the fashion world, starts looking for a doctor. You start looking for a doctor, and this is really the cool.
We were not communicating at this point.
They didn't know who was looking for.
I sat on that couch in that doctor's office at CTCA and found this doctor, found this UCLA Pancreatic Center for Pancreatic Diseases. And because I realized, I saw I put in top 5, and UCLA was one of them, and I thought, holy crap! Like I said, we can just get our hope crushed locally if they're going to crush our hope.
Right. Well, you can go, then you can get home faster, and we can go eat.
This Southwest flight with her in a wheelchair and the food and everything, it was impossible. So
and it's only an hour away. We were so naive to that. Remember, you said every week she's going to fly to Phoenix and just going to come right back at the end of the day. It was that was one of the dumbest decisions, that I've made, except
but we
for
were
marrying
willing
my
to do
ex-wife.
anything. So I found this guy, and I called the next day, and got her medical records number, started the procedure to get her into this center. At the same time, what I didn't know, so I find this guy. Long story short, I get recommended to this guy.
Turns out, best in the world.
best in the world. The next day, we're sitting in we're getting adjusted, and my uncle sends me a text and says, I found the best in the world. And it's the same guy.
Same as it's just a moment of grace, man. There was a moment where, because it had gone so horribly since it started, and we had had such a good time over Christmas in Scotland, that there was a moment when I remember settling. I mean, it was a different feeling we'd had, though. I was like, oh, okay. So at least no matter what. And I think what a lot of people do, and I've heard people, because I don't like when I tell people, I've stopped telling people that you have pancreatic now because I don't like the reaction.
Get the long face.
The reaction
I hate
sucks, man. It's like, oh, well, how long is it?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Right. Good. Are you selling her stuff cheap? I mean, they start to get like some of the stuff that comes out of their mouth. You're like, and I always go, hey, we found a dude that's keep people alive 9 to 12 years. So you can stuff it and wipe that look off your face. She's killing this.
But just in case, we are getting her to paint a lot.
Yeah.
Paint those paintings.
And get those paintings. They're too good. So now we find this guy, and this guy is what I like about this guy, and it's a rare thing I find in you find doctors, lawyers, anybody who has a profession. This guy seems to not give a crap, and he's got just enough. He's got enough not give a crap that he's got to scare people. The best comedians have a don't give a crap. The best artists have a I don't give a crap. The best doctors have a I don't give a crap. And
he actually is against big medicine, big pharma.
Yep.
He believes in the conspiracies of them all.
Do you want to tell him why?
When we first met with him, the next day.
This is all hearsay, by the way.
No, this is
what he told
public record.
Okay. Yeah, tell us that part.
But the turning point for me was we had our hope crushed by 5 different doctors, several nurses. I mean,
we
everyone
were making appointments to get our hope crushed.
Right. Yes. And he said to me, "What do you want?" And I started hemming and hawing because I didn't think I could say I want her to live because I couldn't take one more person saying that to me. I couldn't take it, and I knew she couldn't either. She was on a ledge. And I said, we just want for her to have a better, and he finally just goes, hey, you want to beat the odds. And I just looked right in his eyes, and he looked at me, and I said, yeah, that was it. It changed everything that day. And he said, okay, then. And he went back to writing. He's super eccentric, and he's out there. But
he's brilliant.
Yeah, he's brilliant. He was the expert witness against the drug company for the exact chemo drug that she was being given at CTCA. Gemcitabine is the name of it. They slang it Gemsar. And he testified against them and did a lot of research. And because of that trial, they lost their patent for 3 years while it was ongoing, and they ended up settling.
The trial was based on that the drug itself, he said the drug itself actually has never in any clinical trial changed tumor growth. There is not one study.
Effect.
So what they do is they keep pumping it into people, and they pump it into you for 3 to 5 months. You die. It's $22,000 per procedure times 100,000 patients a month times 12 months times 10 years. Well, this guy went into court, sat down, and got their patent removed for 3 years. So it's a $4 billion a year profit drug. He got their patent stopped for 3 years, and then they got it reinstated. And
they settled. They actually settled. It was frozen during the trial. It wasn't, pulled or anything. But he showed us the insert from that drug bottle from the box, and it's huge. He unfolds and unfolds and unfolds.
Right. It's a clown piece of paper, right?
It was more like unfurling.
Yeah.
And right in the very center, he underlines something and hands it to me, and it says this drug was not shown to have any confirmed side effects on tumors in any clinical trials or any studies. And so that was pretty crazy. And that is actually the only FDA approved chemo for pancreatic specific.
Wow.
And one of the ones he's giving me now, he does what they call a cocktail. All of his patients call it a cocktail, and he adjusts
Shake it or stir.
Shaken.
And he adjusts it as he goes. But I've lost my train of thought. Right?
He makes a cocktail.
One of the drugs that he's giving you now.
They don't pay for it because it's not approved for pancreatic cancer. It's approved for other cancers. So the insurance companies won't pay for it, all of them. But the one I have won't pay for it.
Looks like I'm going to be making a phone call.
Well, his assistant told us that one of his patients, whose brother was a lawyer, sued him. And got payment for his.
So all we got to do is we'll just cite that case.
But he does
I'm just going to call him and cite that case.
He does a chemo cocktail that's not being done anywhere else. It's 5 different chemos. And like I said, we have met. We met a lady 4 weeks ago that is cured. She was inoperable and now cured.
And they pulled it off her liver, didn't they? I mean, it was actually
what she
metastasized.
actually had was the procedure that I asked that oncologist that last day if that was possible when he gave me that never, not in all my history,
you
ever.
You didn't say what the procedure was.
It's called the Whipple.
So basically, the cancer metastasizes your liver. It starts to spread. So she went through Dr. Isaacov's whole program. They got to the point where it pulled off all of the tumors came off the liver and everything. They can't find it in her blood anymore. And then once they got it all out of her system, they actually performed the Whipple procedure, which pretty much cleans you out. It's like taking an ice cream scoop to your innards and they take out everything.
They take pancreas, spleen, part of your intestines, things like that.
Yeah, and they clean it all out, and then done. Now she's how far into this now?
6.
She's 6 years into it, and she's cancer free to the point where she's moved back to New York. She has to come see Dr.
No, she lives in wine country
in
California.
But every 2 months, right?
Every 4 months, she has to come back for a scan. She wants to make it 6. He said, how about 2? So they keep settling on 4. But he wants to just make sure. I mean,
nice commitment to her life.
Right. He is. He's very, very committed to his people and loves his people. And granted, he's quirky. I'll just say he's super quirky.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, you want the most brilliant people are weird.
But he showed us pictures of
not weird, quirky.
We're meeting people.
Quirky has comedy in it.
We're meeting people that are surviving. But he did show us pictures, and he did the picture flip that I referenced in the Armageddon update, where he took a stack of pictures, and he was doing this because we've met some of them. But for New Dad was there to meet him a couple weeks ago, and he took a stack of pictures, and he goes, "Well, I'll show you." So he starts flipping pictures down in front of us. Inoperable, now cured. Inoperable, now cured. Flip, inoperable, now cured. And then he to his back right on the other credenza, flip. 7 years survivor, 6 years survivor. Flip. And I was like, whoa.
What happened to those people on the credenza? The credenza people, are they not here anymore?
Hold on.
Her mom's not a
pictures
credenza.
of Sony.
Yeah, his dog. He has a dog in his office.
You don't want to be a credenza person. Let's just say that.
Mom was very optimistic. She said maybe because it was pictures at a celebration, a survivor celebration he does every year. He also does these huge fundraisers. But Mom said maybe it was just pictures of other party goers.
Yeah, there you go. That wasn't people. That's fine.
But he actually is trying to find a cure, and he works with the Lust Garden Foundation, and they're out of New York, and he's trying to find a cure. He's doing a huge fundraiser in September in honor of Pavarotti, who, until you're touched by this, you don't know that's what people died of, but Pavarotti died of this. Patrick Swayze came to him, died of this, didn't treat with him.
Same with Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs came to him didn't treat with him. And so several...
Flip.
Yeah. Ricky! What happened to Ricky?
So guys, so I think what we learned from this is that Mom's kicking this thing's butt, man, and she has lost her hair. She has lost her hair.
The headphones fit so much better on her head, though, don't they?
Yeah, the headphones actually look good on her. They add a nice thing to
I
it.
look like an extraterrestrial.
She says that all the time.
I do.
But I will say that your spirits up. It's weird. The chemo is weird. It's weird to watch you like you have to wear a chemo pump. Oh, I got to tell you, me and Mom love each other to death. And we also don't have any problem yelling at each other when we argue. So we had an argument.
We are very passionate.
We are very passionate, and so we had an argument. She was eating something I didn't think she should eat, and because pancreas it reacts to food and stuff. And we've reading these books about food.
You've made me become a vegan. I hate vegan.
So what happened? I am too, though. I took
hate
it on.
Vegan.
We actually didn't make you go full vegan. We let you have seafood.
Yeah, you have to. So and then so she's eating something. I said you can't have that. She said, "Oh, it was comfort food." I go, you have cancer. I'll tell you what. I'll buy you a steak when you cure cancer. And we started this fight, and here's this woman. Okay, talk about when you think cancer and you think, oh my God, this person just hasn't their week and everything. She's screaming in my face in her bedroom. She has a chemo pump inserted, like there's a tube in her body that's pumping chemo every 15 minutes.
I think about that.
Yeah. She just wings it on the bed, and it just goes out like a whip. Well, fine, and she's screaming. That was a bad day. It was a bad day. But it was only because we love each other. But it was interesting what a badass you are. You just like, I'm having some dessert.
I need a reason to live.
Yeah, after chemo, I have no concept of what it feels like. So, all right, guys, so do me a favor. Anybody in your family, cancer pops up, do not just take what they say on. Do not. These guys, they've accepted the rules from 1960, and they're still living by them. Now, there's some great guys. There's some great guys, Isaacoff. There's some people on the East Coast in Pennsylvania that are doing some stuff with the HIV virus. That literally, they had video on this special on Vice where they had the HIV virus eating. It showed that it's just destroying the cancer. The crazy thing about this is that they did this, and they it's still bad. It's still bad. The girl that they gave it to, she had leukemia. They gave it to her. Her parents were like, she's 11. We've tried everything. There's a couple of things that didn't work. Whatever it takes. They give her this viral cancer treatment. She goes into a coma for like 12 days, like 104, 105 temperatures, and it just stays like that. And they're like, oh my God, And when she came out, totally cancer free. So there's stuff going on, people, but just don't walk in and accept. Listen, you wouldn't buy a car from 1960 unless it was a classic. You wouldn't go buy a 60 Rambler. Don't take your chemo advice from someone who's still living in the 60s. All right, and now, you have anything you want to say? How is this going for you, by the way?
Well, it's as I always tell my husband when he calls, I say it's a tough gig.
Yeah.
It's no fun.
No.
But it's no fun for any of us, and we're still doing well. The main thing is that I really appreciate y'all inviting me out here to live with you, because literally I'm living with you. My husband's back and forth from the Middle East, and I have nowhere to live over there and be treated. And I think I'd be dead by now if Rachel hadn't have been with me. Yeah. If you hadn't been calling in your inimitable way that you have.
Bitch slapping people?
Screaming at people. I think that I'm very fortunate. We saw a lot of people, particularly at CTCA, if I got that right, who were by themselves, bringing themselves in for treatment, and bald and sick, and I don't have to do that.
You need
so God has really blessed me with you.
And
so I want to say, if anyone out there has someone who has cancer, they may be acting brave, but chemotherapy is horrifying, no matter what level it's at. And everybody's different. I could still croak out, but I don't intend to anytime soon. But still, be kind to anyone you know doing chemo. And if you have someone in your family or close to you who needs chemo, please go with them to things and act like they're special to you, because it's really a tough gig for everybody involved.
Yeah, it's not like it's you got to understand, you think it's the cancer that's making them sick, but if you didn't have if they didn't have the chemo, they would just slowly get weaker and weaker, but it's the chemo that's making them sick.
Well, this cancer, you die in terrible pain. It's very painful. Many cancers are very painful, but yeah, the chemo makes you sick as a dog.
but yeah, okay. Well, so do that, guys. A little more love. We could all use that. All right, and now, you ready for the news?
Did you bring news?
Oh, we didn't. No,
no, there's no we.
There's no news?
Oh,
I supposed
to
do
you do it?
I'm sorry.
You know what? I did the Armageddon update. I write the Armageddon update. All I do is blah, 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 and podcast.
Hey, Fetus, you shouldn't be laughing at that. Fetus is sitting behind you laughing his butt off. Listen, I've only written 127 of these.
And here he goes.
So, I'm sorry, someone kicked the door open. I need to step through.
I've only gotten the news for 127 of these.
The news. You have people send you the news. No, they
don't.
I have on my Twitter feed right now.
Our news correspondent has been MIA. So I'm just stringing this all together on my own. That's all I'm saying.
Did we get any? Oh, by the way, just want everyone to know, I hate to. Okay, so here's the thing: we got sucked into this whole Harry Potter thing, and Mom, you did too.
I didn't.
You got sucked into it. You know why? Because you're afraid. You have fear.
Actually, I'll tell you this. Let me be very clear about this, and Mom knows this. I read the qualities and traits of all four houses, and I actually like the qualities and traits of a Slytherin the most. I like Ravenclaw, and I like Slytherin both.
I'm a Ravenclaw.
I like those two, but Gryffindor has serious issues, and certainly, Hufflepuff. Nobody wants a Hufflepuff.
What do you mean Gryffindor has serious? I can't believe I just said that. What do you mean? What are issues? We're kind of stupid. I will say we're stupid brave. We will. By the way, in all those movies are the same. Gryffindors, Ron Weasley had to be going, Harry, what the hell are we? Why are we fighting another dragon? Look at the Hufflepuffs. You know what they're doing? They're playing D&D right now.
Nothing.
Yeah,
Washing our clothes.
I have to say that the more I read it, I thought the Hufflepuffs. I'm like, you know what? I want some Hufflepuffs backing me up because they got your back, 100% loyal. Slytherins, I've hired a bunch of them. They're called attorneys.
There's no bad. If you look on that website, there's no bad qualities of a Slytherin. They've just gotten those bad. You can tell us, but they've gotten the bad rep because of the characters that were the evil wizards, right? Am I even saying that right?
Yeah. There's only been one good Slytherin wizard. Merlin. There's only been one. God, how do I know this? In 1 week. Oh, my God.
No, but I'm saying...
Shut up, Fetus. He's over there just high-fiving himself. I got Titus sucked in. Here's the weirdest thing is that we start talking about it. We come home. Bombshell has actually done the test on Pottermore.
And I've never even read a whole book or watched a whole
I
movie.
know. I was like, what
I
is
understand
this?
that. I've never, but Fetus was on.
Yeah.
So look, this is what I'm going to tell you. We actually have started to receive Stump Fetus questions. I'm going to give it one more week. Some of the ones I want everyone, be very clear. When you send your Stump Fetus questions, send the answer. We don't know it. We need to know the answer so that we can rub his face in it. So we've gotten several, and some of them are really intense.
To all you people out there, man, that think you know more about Harry Potter, I will tell you this. There was some dude last week that got on Twitter and Fetus destroyed him. To one point, the guy actually gave it up on Twitter. He was like, all right, you're right. This is a good point. Sorry.
I didn't think he got destroyed. I thought it was a lively banter.
It went on. It went on for a while.
It did go on, and it was blowing up my feed because I was tagged in it.
It was stopped tagging you after a while, though.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I'm gonna actually do something I'm gonna go help a homeless shelter because wasting time.
I know. But listen, so next week, because some of these questions I read and I just thought, holy crap, because I know it's like some one little mention in the middle of a book buried. So next week, get ready, go home and reread them all fast.
Christopher and I got wands that had phoenix feathers on them.
Yeah.
Why do you care?
We now care,
My son,
but we still don't read the stuff or watch the movies.
My son, by the way, ended up. He was like, my son was like, I'm a Hufflepuff all day.
Everyone thinks he's a Hufflepuff, except he tested
Gryffindor.
That's why I don't think the test is conclusive.
I can't believe I'm having this conversation. My daughter got a choice. She got Gryffindor or Ravenclaw. She chose Ravenclaw.
See, that I believe, both of those. But anyway.
So let's just accept you're a Slytherin.
I would be fine. Actually, Mom thinks that I'm going to try and slant my answers so that I will be, because I like their they have serious qualities. They get what they want. They're street smart. They're I like it. But the Ravenclaws are intelligent and the kind of bookish, and I kind of like that too. So we'll see.
Gryffindor's, if he just called me a dumb jock, you stupid jock.
Couple things. Let's just cover a couple things.
Okay.
B.B. King has died.
B.B. King, yeah.
I know. Very tough.
Thrill is gone. Oh, that's right. Thrill is gone.
Thrill is gone.
I saw him perform that song in 2005 for my birthday on Beale Street.
Who took you for your birthday?
It was actually because I was opening a comedy club right up the street, so I knew the guys that ran BB King's, and I was out with my very short, dumpy boyfriend of the time. I was trying it. It didn't work. And I was walking by, and I saw the guys that ran. They were like, hey, he's coming in. He's dropping in tonight. Do you want to come in? And I said, yeah. So I went in, and this was when people could still smoke in bars. Nobody could smoke in the club for 24 hours prior to his arrival. No air conditioner could be run. All the windows had to be open because of his throat and stuff like that. Wow. And this man, he sits in a chair, and he performed until 2 a.m. Up until midnight, he plays his music, and then he jams with local musicians, and then he meets fans on his tour bus up until 3:30.
And the dude can make a guitar talk, man. Crazy, right?
It's amazing. So it's a hard one. It's hard. I was sad when 89. You woke me up to tell me.
I did. I knew because I knew this story. I didn't wake you up. I said, "Hey, man, BB King." Why she hates this. Why did you wake me up?
A couple other things.
Love you too.
Just some highlights here. Alan Thicke, who is a friend of ours, and we dearly love him, apparently has done an interview, and Robin Thicke is speaking out. He's very uncomfortable with how open Alan is, but Alan.
I know Alan. By the way, Alan Thicke is got the heart of a comedian, and he was a comedian too. He knows the way to get to the point is to be honest about it.
He wrote for Richard Pryor's show. Most people don't realize
he was the head writer on Richard Pryor's variety show.
And we're talking about the dad from Growing Pains. If many of you don't know, but also
That's
he
interesting
wrote the jingle for Wheel of Fortune or Jeopardy, one of those.
One of those, yeah.
He's also a music writer. Anyway, in his interview, he admitted that when he and his wife, Tanya, who we know is also very outspoken, hit the sheets, it's often to Robin Thicke's music. So
That's weird. Okay, really? When we hit the sheets, it's often to his son's music. Wow.
One more thing on my news highlights segment.
I just got uncomfortable.
I've got some regular stories, but these are my top 3 news highlights because we are a trustworthy news source. That
Bombshell
everyone
Rae
goes
with the
to.
bombshell news.
Bill Cosby has actually responded to rape allegations.
Finally. Well,
Sort of.
he had to wait to respond for the people to wake up.
You're funny.
They were out. You're just mad you didn't think of that.
He said, here was his quote. He was actually doing an interview he was speaking for the leaders of the Black Belt Foundation, which is about underfunded schools in Alabama. The sit down, they discussed his work and the organization, but Good Morning America only aired the portions of the interview that involved questions about the sexual assault allegations, of course, not about the charity.
Media
but
success.
About that. He said, quote, I have been in this business over 52 years and I have never seen anything like this. Reality is the situation and I can't speak. What does that mean? Reality is the situation.
I don't know. What?
And then he says he's here to tell this young person about life. He's old, though. You know, they ramble and say things that doesn't make sense.
Yes.
I think that many of them might say, well, Bill, you're a hypocrite. My point is, listen to me carefully. I'm telling you where the road is out. I'm telling you where you're driving. You're going to go into water, and it looks like it may only be 3 inches, but you and your car are going to go here. Now, you want to go here, or you want to be concerned about who's giving you the message? So that's.
I am.
He's basically saying
he's now gone over. He's pushed him over the edge.
He's basically saying, if I'm telling you that you're going to drown, does it matter who's giving you the message? Do you heed the message, or do you point out that I'm a rapist and that drugged people?
Yeah, right. By the way, if a rapist says your house is on fire, do you just discount it, or do you call the fire department?
Exactly.
I said it better.
Yeah, yours was a lot better. Atomic wedgie death.
Oh no!
Oh yeah!
Oh no! Me and my son have wedgie fights all the time.
A stepdad has been strangled with underwear in an atomic wedgie death.
That's a hit.
An Oklahoma man has
a hit.
pleaded guilty for an atomic wedgie death. The 34-year-old admitted to grabbing his stepfather's underwear and pulling it up over his face, using the shorts to suffocate him. His explanation: things got out of hand.
Like it's a wedgie, like just a wedgie octagon battle. It's a wedgie cage match? What the hell is that? It got out of hand. You know how many wedgie deaths there are per year in America? Stop the wedgie. No, wedgies are fine.
They could probably get Bill Cosby to come and speak for them.
The NWA, the National Wedgie Association, is going to come out.
NWA is a totally different group.
No,
I was like, wait
they
a
should
minute.
do the NWA. Oh, we're going to go see NWA. Hi, welcome to the National Wedgie Association. Listen, the rights...
Man.
The way
You said this
I
was
thought
the
they were getting
MDA. I said MDA. Holy crap.
We're combining things.
MDA. That's a drug I did in college.
Weird, you know, Mom. It's weird. These stories. It gives me so much almost hatred for humanity. Sometimes some of the stories like we get are just I just go, wow, how does that happen? Things get out of hand.
He yanked his underwear up over his face because he was bad-mouthing his stepmother, and he knocked him out first and then pulled the underwear up over his head so that when he woke up, he would be embarrassed because his underwear strap was around his face.
But he
actually laid there and choked out. So
I choked out because it was around his neck?
Yeah, he yanked
Was
his
this on
underwear.
Mother's Day?
No, I don't know. Yanked his underwear up and over his face. They're seeking 35 years in jail.
Wow.
Wow, you're getting your ass kicked in jail.
May
too.
15th.
What are you in for? Wedgie fight.
Oh, you're done.
Yeah, it's over. There's
done.
nothing going on. You might as well just kill yourself.
I don't have any idea how to use a knife.
Yeah,
But hand me an underwear elastic.
I'm going commando. Damn it! I've been foiled again. All right, guys, I want to tell you, we're going to be at, this week, we're going to be in Ontario Ontario Improv. I'm doing all new material. If you saw my special on Saturday last week, I'll be doing all new material. Born with a Defect. It got really good in Utah. I got to thank Utah, man. The Wise Guys in Utah Club is one of the most giving clubs. The audiences show up. They're the Mormons. They're not pounding alcohol like a lot of people that live in our nightmare-fueled state. And they're just great people, and they're up for anything. I told some brand new stories I'd never even told on stage before, and they were just like, yeah, to give us more. So this week, Ontario
Improv Friday through Sunday. Next week, Tempe Improv Thursday through Sunday.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
I had some other really great news stories. I'm very sad that
Montreal, are you going with us?
May go on Sunday to Ontario since it's a drive.
You can hang with us in Phoenix. We can go visit CTCA and say, hey, did you hear the podcast?
Going to give it a shot, see if I can go.
And now, more Bombshell Rae with the Bombshell News.
I just want to do this one story because I had several people send this in to me.
Okay.
And, it's Florida. A man kills imaginary friend, turns himself in, and then takes the world's saddest mugshot. It is the saddest. He's crying in his mugshot.
Fetus, we're going to post this mugshot.
Are you going to put it up? Look at him. And his bottom lip is out. Of course, Florida. He demanded the death penalty for himself. He repeatedly stabbed Mr. Happy with a kitchen knife, cut him up with a hatchet, buried him in his backyard. He said that they were friends for 7 years, but he had to kill him because he left. Fetus is laughing at the picture.
Oh, he is so sad looking.
He left his empty vodka bottles all over the kitchen. He never picked up his empty cocaine baggies. He messed up my apartment to the point where I just couldn't get it clean. Before Hap started doing drugs and acting weird, he was my BFF. We'd go dancing, play on the children's park equipment, both huge fans of doom metal. Listen to it for hours with the lights turned off.
Get a meme on that, man. Just put on that meme, just put, this is what you look like after you kill your imaginary friend.
And also,
or something.
Mr. Happy was the one that crashed Gaylord, that's his name, Gaylord's car, and was drunk. It wasn't Gaylord. So Mr. Happy did a lot of things that Gaylord got blamed for.
Yeah, this guy should have better get a plan. He'd get free jail meals.
But basically, if you think about it, he turned himself in for doing cocaine.
Yep.
He's an alcoholic and drunk driving accident.
Yeah. Yeah, so again, so Mom, what I was saying is that I just don't have faith in humanity anymore. At one point, I go, why do we do this podcast? Because I start to hate people. What else? By the way, guys, if you want to, and if you saw the special last week on Comedy Central, they only showed 66 minutes of content. There's a whole other 62 minutes, or 40 minutes. If you want to get the DVD, go to ChristopherTitus.com. In December, we're going to be filming Bombshell Rae's first special at the Denver Comedy Works. So if you guys want to go to that, start thinking about it. Mom, do you have chemo next week too?
Yeah, I have chemo for the next 2 weeks.
So if you want to see Bombshell, she's going to be at Dr. Isaacov's office next Tuesday for chemo.
Getting chemo. By the way, tickets, waiting room tickets are free, but get there early.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of people that want
to. Chemo chairs fill up.
The chemo chairs fill up. We're gonna get doing a scan pretty quick, right? We're gonna see the progress
next Tuesday.
Our first scan since early February.
We will give you guys an update. We'll give you guys an update on what's going on with Bombshell. And thanks for listening today. For myself, the lovely Bombshell Rae, Momshell, and Fetus. Later.
Peace out.
Yo.
See ya.
I like that he's getting better, but he's putting more hate into it every week.
Actually, there's more hate in him progressively in general every week.
Well, then we're doing our job.
Is it because he's a Hufflepuff?
Yeah.